I'm really excited. I built a fully functional app that is live on Google Play. It has a library of 70,000 books, Tap It translates in 20 languages, vocabulary tracking, flashcards, text-to-speech, and a freemium model. And I did it all with AI. Now, while I do have a little bit of experience with coding, I actually didn't write a single line of this code. I built a team of AI agents, I gave them jobs, I made the decision, and I managed 28 different iterations of this app from a prototype to a product. And this is how I did it. Now, a little bit of background. Both my parents were raised to speak Spanish. My grandparents on both sides are fluent. The thing is, they didn't teach us when we were kids. It wasn't passed down. Not for any negative reasons, but because when they were younger, they were pushed to speak English in school. I actually have a 500 plus day Duolingo streak, but I still couldn't read my favorite book. I tried Libby, which was great, and I had free access, but the translation process was painfully slow. I really just wanted to be able to read my favorite books and learn that way. I didn't want to read Sea Spot Run or Green Eggs and Ham in Spanish. The thing is, I really enjoy reading, and I wanted to be able to learn Spanish in a way that I enjoyed. So I figured if I found a book that I could work through, maybe I could figure it out. But there really weren't any apps out there. There are no programs, nothing that was really easy or user-friendly. I wanted to be able to grab one of my favorite books, have it translated, and be able to work through it at my own pace. There really was just no good tool that existed for reading, so I decided to build it myself. Now previously, I had tried to build apps in a program called Replit. It worked for what it was, but it was still a couple years ago, and it wasn't as functional as what we have now. I had a friend who was building some different things, and he said Claude was awesome, so I decided to give it a shot. I downloaded Claude, paid for the $17 a month version, and tried to build my first prototype. The first version was built entirely inside of Claude as a React artifact, and all that really means is that it was basically built in a sandbox environment. It was fully functional as a web app, but I couldn't download it to my phone yet. With that, I was able to load in a Spanish Harry Potter book that I had purchased, and it translated in real time, and this is the moment that I knew this idea might be possible. Now, as cool as that was, it was just a web prototype. I could load a book in the sandbox environment and have it translate, but I wanted a real Android app. So I decided, with Claude of course, to move to the React Native and Expo build. Now this is where most people would stop. They would think, I don't know how to build a mobile app. I've never developed anything like that. But the cool thing is that you don't need to know how to do the whole thing yourself. You can work with Claude, you can follow steps, and you can create a team of agents to help you through the whole process. Now this is the really exciting part about this video, and the part that makes it a little bit different. This isn't the I built an app story. This is the I built a team of agents that helped me build the app story. And here's what most people aren't talking about. The skill required wasn't actually coding. The skill was building the right team and making the right decisions. I just happen to have a team of AI agents instead of developers. Now a little bit of the structure and some of the agents I used and what they did. Now the first thing I used was Claude via Claude Code, which was my main thing, my lead developer. It helped me with architecture decisions, debugging, refactoring. Every iteration went through Claude. 28 versions and counting of this app, and each one was better than the last because I could articulate what was wrong and what I wanted. It actually understood context. Second was my research agent. It searched for competing apps, analyzed what LingQ and ReadLang were doing, found the Gutenberg API. That one API connection added 70,000 books overnight. Another agent was the visual asset agent. It generated the app icon, the store screenshots, and the feature graphics. That branding alone would have cost me thousands from a designer. Another was a content strategy agent. This helped me plan the launch content, the video series around Decipher, and the marketing angle. And if we're talking marketing, I also used a market researcher. It analyzed the competitive landscapes, the pricing strategies, and the target audience. It told me where the gap was and how to position best. And one of the last agents was my compliance agent. We checked privacy policy requirements, Google Play guidelines. The legal stuff I just really wanted to make sure was checked off. 28 iterations currently. That's how many versions of this app exist. And here's the thing. Each iteration didn't take weeks. It took hours. Because I wasn't waiting on a dev team's sprint cycle. I was sitting with Claude, describing what I wanted, reviewing what came back, and making real decisions. The general workflow I used is that I told Claude what I wanted. We were then able to identify if there was an agent I already had that could assist with that process. If not, we were able to build that agent. They were able to go build out that section. I tested it and described what was wrong. The agent and Claude fixed it, and then we repeated. Some iterations were massive, adding the entire Gutenberg library, for example, but some were tiny, fixing how a button on a certain screen looked. The point is, I was the product manager, the creative director, and the QA team. The agents were the developers, the designers, and the researchers. Now, if you're wondering what I actually did every day, let me be real about what my days actually look like. Whenever I would first hop on, I would work with Claude to review what was built yesterday, and I built a list of what still needed to be built. Then, typically, we would make an iteration, make the changes needed, and test the app on my phone. What works, what doesn't, what annoys me, what would annoy other people. Then I would take that information and I would write a clear description of what I actually wanted to change. Now, this is the skill that's actually important in this process if you want to build your own app. I would take that information and I would feed it to Claude. I would review the output and then test again. If I ever got stuck or I wasn't sure what features I wanted to add, I would just reach out to my research agent. I would ask Claude to talk to it and say, what are competitors doing? What features matter? What can I cut? It was the same thing with branding decisions. I changed the original name from Lingua Reader to Decipher. We worked on a couple iterations, icon designs, color choices, things like that. And then towards the end, a lot of what we focused on was business decisions. We had the research agent go out and look and see what the best idea for freemium versus paid would be, what to limit, and pricing. Now, the coolest part about this entire process, and the part I'm excited for you, is that the skills that built this aren't coding skills. They're clear communication. You do need to be able to describe exactly what you want. Product sense, which is knowing what you want to build and what to skip. Decision making, you get to choose between options that the agents will present. And persistence for sure. 28 iterations means 28 iterations of not quite right, but let's try that again. And the last is vision, knowing what the finished product should feel like. Those are leadership skills, management skills, creative skills, not engineering skills. Now, the part that I'm on right now is basically what I would call the launch grind. It's the unsexy work that needs to be done to actually launch the app. No matter how good your app is, you still have to do these things. For example, I had to get a Google Play developer account. I had to pay $25 to do that. I had to apply for a DUNS number, which is a Dun & Bradstreet number. I had to do a privacy policy. I had to figure out my store listing. I had to figure out my freemium model decisions, what's going to be free and what's going to be premium. I had to test on multiple devices, build an email waitlist, and really just do a lot of other research to get ready for the app launch. And the last thing is, I'm sitting here making this video, making sure that everything is ready for the app launch. I want to make sure that I have a blitz of information available out there for people who are really interested. Now, the coolest thing here is that I'm going to walk you through what the app actually does. Basically, you have this main screen. You can upload any kind of DRM-free or EPUB book that you have. You can also go to the Gutenberg library, pick a book, click download, and go ahead and start reading it. Once you load a book, you can navigate through the pages, navigate through the chapters, tap to translate a specific word, have that word read back to you, check your vocabulary list that will grow as you highlight words, and mess with the flashcards, which are linked to that vocabulary list. Now, the free tier, you get full access to the Gutenberg library, 30 daily translations, 30 saved words, unlimited flashcard use, and full page translation. You will never have to pay to read your own book. Now, if you do want to support, there's a premium version. It's a one-time purchase, unlimited everything, no ads, and there will never be any subscription ever. Now, this all started because I wanted to read my Harry Potter book in Spanish without losing my mind, and now there's an app on the Play Store that does exactly that. But the bigger thing I learned is this. The barrier between having an idea and shipping a product isn't code. It's not a CS degree. It's not a dev team. The barrier is knowing what to build and being persistent enough to get it right. AI didn't build this app for me. I built this app with AI, and that's a difference. I made every decision. I chose every feature. I reviewed every iteration. The agents did the implementation. I did the thinking. If you have a real-world problem, something that frustrates you, something you wish someone would fix, you can probably build a solution yourself. Some setup time, some agents helping you out, and a lot of iteration. That's it. That's the whole formula. And that's what Cadmus Lab is about. Digital solutions designed with the real world in mind. Anyone can do this. I promise. I'm not that special. I just refused to accept that I needed to know how to code to solve my own problem. Decipher launched last week on Google Play. The link is in the description. If you want to see me build the next one, because there will be a next one, please subscribe. Everything is documented, the wins, the failures, all of it. I'll see you in the next one.